There's a push in Maryland to set up safety guidelines when it comes to Wi-Fi in schools and for daily use of computers, tablets, and other technology. The question is, are the devices posing a health risk? Lawmakers are set to consider bills that would require the State Department of Health and Mental Hygiene to establish guidelines on how much these devices are used in classrooms. Separately, the Maryland State Advisory Council has put out a report calling for a reduction in the use of Wi-Fi in schools. Megan Latshaw is a researcher at Johns Hopkins Bloomberg School and led the work group looking at the impact of Wi-Fi exposure. She says radiation is a real threat to kids and adds we need to proceed with caution because decades ago we thought asbestos was a great flame retardant.
Hopefully, we're being a little bit more forward thinking here, and we won't look back and say, oh my gosh, we wish we hadn't exposed all those children to all that radiation so long ago.
The Senate is expected to hear legislation to establish guidelines about digital devices in school this week. Overuse has been associated with headaches, blurred vision, retinal damage, myopia, sleeplessness, obesity, anxiety, and addiction. Theodora Scarrato with the Environmental Health Trust started doing research on Wi-Fi exposure several years ago.
We didn't really think about what would this mean for a developing child. And we haven't looked into guidelines on how to use devices in the safest way possible, especially for kindergartners, who are being handed these in classes and they have them on their lap.
Latshaw recommends putting tablets on a desk to create a barrier between the child's body and the Wi-Fi antenna, moving the router as far away from children as possible, and having a switch that allows a teacher to turn it off when it's not being used in order to reduce emissions.
Simple steps like that wouldn't necessarily involve, rewiring a school. Although we did recommend that if a school is thinking about installing Wi-Fi, that they actually look into just using wired internet access instead.
For Public News Service, I'm Veronica Carter.